Okay, hip hop in Sydney. This is what Billy Jam has asked me to tell you. It's growing up, that's for sure. Compared to America, it's like hip hop was in America 10 years ago, and we've got a long way to come. But it's definitely something to look out for because its roots are different, that's for sure. Okay, hip hop as such in Sydney or Australia for that matter is not essentially a black thing. And that's the point I'd like to make. That's the difference between American hip-hop and Sydney hip-hop, because that's what I know about anyhow. It comes from a class thing. I mean, I grew up in Campbelltown, which, as if anybody knows Campbelltown, it's a place which is tough. It's a tough neighbourhood, and it's what Vibe talks about, you know, when it does a little blurb on the hood as such. You could do a similar thing about Campbelltown, and you've got a new up and coming group called, let's see what they're called. They're called 046, and that's the code, the area code for the telephone number there. So 046, I mean, they're like babies compared to you guys here, but they've got something to say, and it's about the place which I grew up in, and it's a place which is heavy in racism. It's a real redneck, I call buffhead mentality sort of a place, and that's what their survival, and that's what their fight's all about. It's not about black as such, black against white. It's about racism across the board, whether you be yellow, you be coloured, you be anything. You know, if they've got something against you, they're aiming at you. I tell you what, you guys are really lucky because you may be oppressed, but you've got some sense of dignity about you, so that you can actually go out there and do your music, which is basically hip hop and rap. Back home, it's different because they don't have the dignity, they don't have that sense of pride, so they're still pretty much beaten. And particularly a place I'm referring to is Everleigh Street, and that's in Redfern. Now that's like some totally different planet. It's totally different to Campbelltown, which is where I grew up in, and it's a place which I don't know, you'd be familiar with it because it's a scene out of like Boys in the Hood, where police do the beat and the street beat, I mean, but you know, there's no crime. It's just this I guess urban myth where they think that they're suspects without even having to do anything wrong, and they'll open up the doors and on a whim, and they'll ask questions later, and that's the problem, because if they're being treated as criminals without even having to do anything wrong, then you basically are stripping people of their dignity, and they feel pretty worthless out there. So especially if any of you guys come out to Sydney and you do the tour, which is what, you know, the disposable heroes of hip-hoperacy, and let's see, who else was there? Public Enemy. Now they did the street beat in the more friendly sense. Now when they came out, they gave a sense of hope to people out there, and that's what's important, because if you get this universal thing happening where people see some I don't know, you can call it some sort of thread, some common thread, you're giving people dignity, you're giving them their dignity back, and I think that's important. Remember that, because you're, in a sense, the role models, even though you may not think so.